Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. We have a brand new garage update for you today. It's been a little while since we've had a garage update on the current cars. We've kind of done what's coming before. We gave you guys a tour of the brand new garage. So now it's time to kind of go through all the cars we have here.
Well, we've got more cars here, like back from service than we've ever had. So it's kind of cool to have them all in one garage together.
So, you know, we're going to take you through, but some of these cars are going to get pushed out as we go. So some of them are mine, some of them are Jason's in here, but we wanted to get them all together for a garage update. So follow us in here. We'll have a little bit of a look around.
Yeah. Siege. Riley. Taz. Yeah. Set me free and give me death, there ain't no other choices. When I lay down to go to sleep, I keep on hearing voices. Little whispers in my head, man, is you fake a lawyer? Why no water, that designer, baby, pick your poison.
As we walk in here, you can't help but notice one of the coolest features that we have. You know, my garage doesn't have this. You know, BDD wanted this to be more of a showroom. So, you know, what says showroom more than a turntable?
It's fun to ride on. I just sit here, stand.
You know, this is probably the most special, the most unique bespoke car that we currently have.
For sure. Is
MVBC, and it's something that we didn't spec. So we wanted this on display right now as the main car. So you can see in MVBC here, that's Macchina Volante, one of one Pagani Huayra BC. You have the plaid interior, which this plaid is from the 1950s Mercedes Champion. They found his granddaughter and got the same roll of cloth that they used in the 1950s Formula One winning Mercedes car and had it put in this car. So that's one of the areas where it connects, you know, not only the motor being an AMG motor that Pagani's always gotten, but connects Mercedes in another way to only this car from this. And then we have the plaid or the tartan in the 300 SL.
You're back.
Oh, hey.
I'll step on here with you.
Come on in. Come on in. We're just talking to the subscribers here.
Oh, hey guys. I think one thing that was funny when Dad looked at this, really what sold him on it was the blue carbon more than anything.
Oh, for sure.
If this wasn't blue, it wouldn't be in the garage right now. He loved the blue carbon.
I fully believe that. You know, and this is one of the first trips that we took to go look at a car. We went to
the three of us, yeah.
Yes, we went to Miller Motor Cars. Evan helped us out on this car. So the other thing, you know, this one has the roof scoop and it has the Zonda chimneys on the back here. So these aren't just, you know, for looks. These were all R&D'd and designed to have these chimneys in here. So they're all aerodynamic.
So this is the only Huayra with the chimneys,
yeah,
right?
Yes. So there, like I was talking about, you see the connection with the AMG motor, and you can see how special this car was. Horatio himself and everybody that worked on this car signed the inside of this. And you know, if we can get a nice little close up here, you can see like the blue flake, or the blue sparkles as Jason likes to call it, on just the regular carbon fiber. So it's like this on the interior as well, where you get that nice blue flake pop to kind of match the outside exterior carbon. This is actually a cool way to display this car.
Oh yeah. Look at it from this angle. It looks ridiculous.
Look how cool that is.
Yeah, you got to get that full rotate. That looks crazy. The luggage, I love the luggage, how it just connects the interior.
How much cooler is this to have this turntable in here than to just have them static?
Well, like that is, a car like this you can't really appreciate just sitting there. It's
one of the coolest things, and what I love about this Huayra BC is, you know, there's buying hypercars. You know, some people buy hypercars, right? They have really cool collections. But what I think is really cool about our collection is we don't just go out and buy, for instance, like we don't want just a Pagani Huayra. So, you know, going after some of the most bespoke, custom, you know, not, you know, within that same category, you might say it's the same car, but the spec and the time and R&D that went into this compared to any other Pagani Huayra is a night and day difference. An actual everyday driving collection, you know, with owners that care about them. We're going to get them in for service. We're going to drive them. We're going to take them around to shows. We're going to do charity work with them. You know, we want to take this and show it to the world.
And the variety. We have a good variety.
Correct. We you know, we do have a lot of McLarens, but there's still enough cars that even with the McLarens themselves have enough variety. Yeah.
Do you want to take a step in here and we can look at?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so one of my favorite things is the key. You don't see many keys that are this cool. So it's right in here. So this is a great interior. It's really got the manual, more the clickies. I love the clickies. Look at that. What do you call that? more analog type buttons.
So I just want to say one of the cool things. So like all your window movements and stuff, and all these, you know, this is Macchina Volante, and this is after, you know, like Leonardo da Vinci.
Okay.
With the flying plane stuff. So you almost feel like you're in a plane with some of these controls, like the really early.
I see that. Yeah, you do when you see all the mechanical movements.
Correct, and that is one of the coolest things, being able to see like the actual gear linkage right there. But I mean, just overall, just feeling this car, and
well,
just
it's like
seeing
the fighter
the
jet, like the gauges.
Correct.
How everything moves with.
It
just feels so unique and.
Well, look, I mean, this is like going into a jewelry store when you step in here. I mean, everything just seems like pops out at you. Everything seems ridiculously expensive. There's carbon everywhere. These gauges are just like insane to look at. You really got to feel it and experience this to know like you're really dealing with something special that's not like any other manufacturer.
I mean, even look at the air vents. I mean, look at that. Look how cool those are. I mean, they're bad.
I want some just for my room.
Everything in here is bad. That's what.
It is. I love it. We even have, you know, here. Get this number 12. We have Fangio's number here. Do you see the 12 on the door?
Ooh, Fangio.
And I think this one is one that's staying in the garage. This has been a staple in our collection. But again, I mean, if we don't drive it, you know, it could be out. So nothing's really immune to it. Now we'll look at the inspiration behind MVBC a little bit for the original spec of this. So, you know, we had this completely restored back to everything original. This would be probably like an Amelia Island or concourse car.
Who restored this?
So this is a Mark Allen restoration. So really, if you want to restore a 300 SL, you go one of two places. You go to Mark Allen, or you go to Mercedes-Benz Classic themselves out in California. So, and a lot of people prefer Mark Allen over Mercedes-Benz Classic. They have been compared, and even like some of the bolts and everything, like the underpinnings that you'll never ever see.
They're all original, right?
Well, they say Mark Allen does a better job of that stuff than even Mercedes themselves do.
I mean, it's so cool, even looking at the headlights, to see Germany, Importe de la Mange.
De la Man what?
Yeah. I'm not good at that.
So look, we're not huge into classics, but if there is a classic of classics, I mean, really it's a 300 SL. This was the first hypercar really ever that happened on a regular production basis. You know, you have some concepts, but 1954, which is the first year they started production of these cars, so it makes it a little more special. In 1954, 300 SL, you know, you had all the top movie stars like driving this.
This was it. I mean, you look at it today, like
this is
still looks bad.
Crazy, like this driving down the road, and it drives good too. Like taking this out for a drive, it doesn't feel like what you'd think for, you know, what, 70 years ago.
I mean, it feels like you're steering a boat, but
it does, but for 70 years ago.
For 70 years ago, it's kind of crazy.
It feels really good, but you know, you have the luggage in here, you have all the complete package, everything looks great. This kind of just pulls together with MVBC. It's almost like the same package together. The two gull wings, the plaid interiors, the both Mercedes motors.
Not the easiest to get in. You want to try to get in there?
Yeah. Okay. So first of all, we have to break the steering wheel a little bit. So to make it easier, there's a little lever that makes the steering wheel go like that. You kind of just have to get in and plop down, and then get your foot in here. Back up. Click it, ready to go.
Oh, you look good in there.
It's not really too bad. One of the cool things about this is if somebody cuts you off or somebody really pisses you off, there's a horn for the passenger right here.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome.
So you can both just be like pissed off at people, you know, just hitting it right there. So this was like, you know, like the SF90, they have the little like LCD in Ferraris now, like on the passenger side. You know, this was kind of like the first thing where the passenger has a little bit of control over it. But really cool car. This is about $2 million. You know, for the foreseeable future, this stays in the collection. This isn't necessarily, this is one of the exceptions to where like, we're not just driving this all over the place, but it's like just to look at this thing, but we still drive it. That's like an important point though. We don't just let it sit. We do get this out and drive it. Just not like these.
Every great car has luggage too. And some of these you don't see with the luggage.
That's right. You know what, you're right. That has luggage too over there. All right, so getting out I think is a little more difficult. So I guess it's just kind of reverse. You get your foot out. You hop out. Click that baby back and we're good to go.
We have the UK wing and the world wing. Where do you want to start, UK or world?
I say we go to the world first.
Go to the world?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, so probably, I would say probably the favorite and one of the most important parts of the collection is the Bugatti Chiron 2018. Our first hypercar. You know, we were still at Next, we were still doing our thing, working.
I couldn't believe when he got this too. It was like, holy Bugatti.
We had the 675 LT, and we went from 675 LT, which is about a $480,000 car, to a $3.2 million car. So that was,
jump.
I mean, that was mind blowing. So obviously we have it in the heritage colors. We wanted the French racing blue with the Atlantic blue. You know, I know you guys, you know, we have this in a lot of the videos, but this is a car that probably won't go if I had to say one. I mean, this is like the first one. It has some nostalgic feeling to it.
Whenever anybody asks what's your favorite car in the collection, it's either like, I have to say either the Bugatti or, and then my or always changes, but like the Bugatti is like a permanent up there on the top of the list.
For sure. And you know, now that we're going more towards Bugatti too, you know, we not only have this, we have the Super Sport with this coming, and we have the just announced drop top Chiron, if you want to call it the Roadster.
I wouldn't even call it a Chiron. It's more of like,
well, so we don't know
off Devo. We don't even know the name of it because we're filming this before.
Correct. So we're filming this before. We don't know the name, but you know, Bugatti said that they didn't have the capability to do a drop top, you know, Chiron base. So you know, we got invited out to California. That was our California trip. We were one of 99 people to be invited. You had to own multiple Bugattis.
99 in the world.
In the world.
Because they were going to Dubai after us. They were going to Singapore. So there was only a handful of U.S. customers that got the option or the opportunity.
So yeah, so we have, you know, we're getting more into Bugatti. So that'll be 3, you know, high-end Bugattis. That'll be the most expensive car, single car that we'll have. That'll end up being, with tax, probably closer to $6 million.
And then you know we're gonna have to get the Grand Vitesse to.
Well, we're gonna have to go back into the Veyron. So, you know, between McLaren and Bugatti, and I guess there's a couple Pagani's, I mean, it's like...
We need another wing.
It's already getting too small, guys.
We need a Bugatti wing.
So as we move to the interior...
I love the interior. This is probably one of my favorite interiors with the blue.
You know, it's cool because you get a little idea how much we daily use this car, where you can look at how messed up the carpeting is and how dirty it is down there, and even how worn the seats are. You know, this is a very elegant interior. You know, one of the most basic but beautiful designs that I've ever seen, and it just works.
Well, I just love how like this whole thing is that C-curve, and you got all of your controls lined up, and like you said, it's very simplistic, very minimalistic, but it works.
It works perfect. All the blue steering wheel. You know, I didn't know if we should do the blue steering wheel at first, but I love everything just pure blue almost in here.
It looks so good.
But I mean, God, who doesn't love a Bugatti? Okay, so I don't know if we want to call this French or German. I don't know what you
call it French.
Do you?
Yeah.
We'll call it French. That's French. So that's this France part of the world, and we get to
Italy.
One of your favorites in the collection.
This is one of my favorites to drive. I had to stop choosing this one because every time we'd go anywhere, I was like, I'll take the Loft, and then I wasn't, you know, I wasn't having time in all the other cars because I just love this one. It's first of all, I mean, look at how beautiful it is.
I will say, being under these spotlights in this garage has given me a new appreciation for the LaFerrari, seeing the lights on the red.
Looking at it, like I might take this one out of almost anything.
I just don't think anything catches your eye or the lines like the Ferrari red.
Naturally aspirated V12. Not many like that, is there?
Can we call it naturally aspirated even though it's got a hybrid assist?
Well, yeah, because there's no turbos.
It is, I know. I know, correct. Like technically it is, but it's...
Well, it is. They put a... You can
Would a true enthusiast think that that's naturally aspirated?
Well, I don't get...
Overall, that's a good point. You have all the carbon fiber going across the entire dash. You have the red interior, which is part of the reason that sold us on this specific spec. But one of the cool features on this is the seat doesn't move. So the seat is stationary. So the pedals, just like the new Ford GT, you pull this lever over here, the pedals go forward and backwards.
When I'm driving this one, though, it just feels so aggressive. There's something about it that makes you feel more like you're in like a race car than some of these other ones. Like Bugatti, it's like you're in a Mercedes S-Class. It's got rockets on the back. I mean, to me, this feels like the way it rides and just the stance, like you're on a track.
It's great. I mean, this is a great car for the collection. So next we're gonna come over here to America. We have the new Ford GT. This is the Golf Blue, but without the Golf Racing heritage.
But again, in this setting, you can really appreciate when you can stand back from it, and you know this 3/4 view where you see straight through to the back.
Well, and so this is one of only a couple cars that has the Golf Blue, but without heritage, and this is a carbon edition. So you get the carbon stripes, you have the carbon wheels on here. So it is a special edition of it. So this color really is what sold us on this car, but it's really small on the inside.
Tiny. Well, let's both get in and see how we look together, because it is very tiny.
Yeah, you'll see how tight this is in here. Look at this.
It's ridiculous.
Come here.
I mean,
we are
normal guys.
I mean, our shoulders are actually
pressed together.
They're eating each other right now. So so normally my hair touches the top of a car, but I am tall in my torso. But my head is smashed against this.
And there's not great visibility either with It's all I see is roofline.
It's not a great driver's car. You know, very. You know, I have a lot of this stuff seemingly in my F-250. This right here.
Literally the same light switches in a Ford Edge.
Correct.
Yeah.
So, you know, just not a great driver's car, to be honest. It's a little slow, very tight. I mean, even getting out of here is like, you know, you got to really turn your head, sit on the sill, and get out. So this one will be on the chopping block. This is one of the ones that we've kind of determined that we don't really drive it that much.
I don't even remember the last time I've driven it.
I just don't. It's just not the greatest driving experience compared to the others. So it's in the collection for right now, but we'll see if this goes sometime soon with some of the new cars coming. So we're gonna go back to Italy now.
Okay, Italy, US, Italy.
Wasn't too efficient, but we're going back to Italy. This is the Aventador Ultime, so one of 350 coupes.
The last Ultime.
The last Ultime.
The last Aventador.
Yeah, the only
Ultime. The last Aventador is the. Will this be the last non-hybrid?
Yes.
You think?
I mean, it's pretty much confirmed. Yeah, I mean, this is the last. The next model coming out.
So the end of an era with Lamborghini.
Yeah. End of an era. I love the spec on this. The white, and you know, you can kind of see it from these lights down in here. It has a really nice flake to it. It's got the carbon roof. That was pretty rare on the option list. And this is probably my favorite Triple F logo on any of the cars, to replicate the Italian flag down here.
Gosh, this is a good view too, seeing the big V12.
Well, I mean, this is one of the biggest things about this car. I mean, the engine and the looks. I mean, that's pretty much like what you get with.
So aggressive, the styling.
So white on red is probably one of the most iconic and most desirable specs out there. So, you know, you can see it's got a beautiful custom interior with the red. It's called Ad Personam.
This has got a lot going on in here when you look at it, though. I get a little bit overwhelmed with all the buttons. You know, when you have a lot of cars, it takes you a while to get familiarized with where everything is. And with this many buttons, it's like, I'm never finding the air conditioning. I'll just be hot. We're
gonna hop on over to the STO. A lot of people prefer this STO over this Aventador, specifically in these specs, but this is the best spec.
I love this one.
Trying not to be biased, but this is one of the best spec STO that I've ever seen with the matte red.
Well, with the matte red, I don't know if there's another one with the black roof. This wasn't even an option in their configurator. I had to ask them if they could do a black roof.
And how much was that option?
It was
like $20,000?
$20,000 just for black roof. I was like, okay, that's a lot. But I expect it without any of the pricing, which probably a good thing now, because I would have said, oh, okay, not worth $20,000, but it makes it super unique.
The rear of this car and how aggressive with the shark fin, it's like a little baby Saber. I mean, it's incredible because you wouldn't think that a Huracan would be more aggressive than an Aventador, but I think this pulls it off. When you look at these two side by side, this is more aggressive than the Aventador.
Well, I love the total black roof, the high tint on the windows. It just, I mean, to me, it looks crazy. The only thing I don't like you said, is I want Lambo doors on my Lambo.
Interior, you know, gorgeous, matches the outside. I like the interior a lot better than the Aventador. You know, you have the screen there instead of all the buttons.
I do like the screen better. The screen's very intuitive. Well, seeing all those buttons just intimidates me. Going
back over to America, the new C8, this has been upgraded by Sissio Performance. This is really meant to be a drag car. It hasn't been driven that much. It's pretty jerky, like around town. It has 1,100 horsepower to the wheels. So this is just gonna be meant for the drag strip pretty much. You know, we have two Z06s coming, and we'll have those as normal daily drivers. But this is gonna be meant to drag race the other cars. You know, what can the C8 platform do against some of these hypercars and against, you know, really any of the cars. So we're gonna use this as kind of, it'll be an interesting benchmark to see what this platform can do and stay on the edge of that and pit it against all the other cars with our drag strip.
Do you think this will be the fastest C8 in the world?
Yeah, I do. This will be the fastest C8 in the world. So we have the two Corvettes together here. This car means a lot to BDD. He's always wanted a 63 split window, but it is a resto mod. It's a 400 cubic inch blueprint motor. So, but he wanted to keep the original carb look. So he has the original you know, air filter on it.
It does look cool.
It looks neat, right? We don't want to put the original motor in it. It would just be too slow. So everything's been redone. You know, it has a C6 frame underneath. Everything redone, beautiful, all the way through it. So you want to open the door over there. We have the beautiful red interior with the airplane seat belts. Who doesn't love a good old just lap belt back when safety really wasn't thought about too much? But this thing is loud. It is really fun to drive. This rumbles, and it is impressive. I do love this thing. Like, it's not one that we think to take out that much, but when I do take this out, when we do drive it. It's a lot
It's
of
got a lot of power. The first time I drove it, I didn't warm it up, and I turned it sideways.
BDD was passionate about the 63 split window. So one of the cars that I've always been passionate about. Right now, this is probably my 4th or 5th one that I've owned. The first real car, really cool car that I ever got was a Nissan GTR. So to be able to be in the position now to get the last special edition with, I believe it's 8, 9, or 10 coming into the US.
That few, I didn't know that.
Yeah, there's only like 10 in the United States.
How do you know it's the last special edition?
Well, it's the last GTR. They stopped making production. So this is the last R35 as it sits. If there is another version, it'll be the next like iteration of the car, like the R36 chassis signifier. So to be able to be in a position to get this Nismo special edition that they didn't make very many of, this is a really cool car for me. You know, what sets this apart from everything else, it has exclusive stealth gray, which is more of like a bluish gray for the exterior. You have the carbon hood, you have special wheels. And I mean, really, you know, it's not a performance bump, but it's more just this special edition that has all these cool touches. Love the interior of this car. And this is a car too, this kind of reminds me more like of the Bugatti, to where, you know, it's very usable, you know, very, very comfortable. It has a back seat, you know, everything feels great in this car. You know, tons of room. It's very basic, but I mean, the Alcantara steering wheel, everything just works well for me in a GTR. But I love this car.
No, but the stealth gray with the carbon looks so good. I love carbon hoods. You're not generally a fan of carbon hoods, are you?
I'm not.
I think it looks so good.
It looks good on there. Normally, it's a little too like Ricer-ish for me typically.
I like it. Like I like seeing the 911 GT3 with the carbon
for sure.
roof.
So we've seen the world. So now we got to go over and we got to see British cars.
The UK.
So UK versus the world. So you guys are going to pick a side here when we're done. Are you taking the UK side or are you taking the world side? Okay, real quick. So we're going around doing a complete garage update. So if you had to pick a car out of here, out of the current collection, which one are you taking? If you look over, so you know this is like the world side and this is the UK side.
I don't like the small cars.
Okay.
You know, I like the Bugatti. It's got a normal window and you feel like you have room in there. I still love the Bugatti.
That your favorite?
That's everybody's honestly answer out of all the cars that we get, all the crazy cars. That's our first hypercar.
It's a hypercar that feels like a luxury normal car because you can fit in it, and the window's normal size.
When BDD went from a $480,000 McLaren and he wanted to buy this $3.2 million car, like what did you think?
I thought he was crazy.
Did you?
Loco. Muy loco.
Because I know you had, you know, when you talked about it when we were making that jump, I remember he wanted me to find this. You're like, why in the world would you ever spend $3 million on a car?
I still don't get it.
Like she has no idea why we do this.
I don't get it.
You'd rather buy.
I guess it's an investment.
You'd rather buy properties, right?
Yes.
All right, so we're going over to the UK side now. This is my personal favorite side. Over here, we're going to start with the Speedtail. So this is probably one of the most bespoke cars that we have, and it is the most expensive Speedtail that was created.
Probably the most expensive options too.
Correct, so $650,000 worth of just carbon options because it has the really special 1K carbon. In here you got to get closer to see the weave. It's titanium infused, so it's a really cool technology with it. So you know this came in under show and display, so it's able to have some things that aren't like technically like legal for cars to have, but you know driving 2,500 miles a year, it came in under exemption. Like for instance, you know, to have video side mirrors. And these go all the way in, that's not legal for the road typically. Having the center seat position is not something that's legal for the road. And I mean, just the look of this car is so unique compared to anything else. And this is probably the car that we worked like the hardest for in terms of trying to get. So we went to Pebble into Car Week in 2019. And the reason I went there, one of my favorite parts of doing all of this, and one of the reasons why I think it's a great collection, is building the relationships with these manufacturers, with these guys. You know, even if you have the money, you're not always just going to get the cars, right? So a lot of people have enough money to buy these cars, but to really build those relationships with the manufacturer and, you know, get them, you have to get them to want to get you these allocations. So they're going to work hard for you and, you know, to get this. So this has been sold out for 3 or 4 years. When we wanted it in 2019. So that's when we got presented the Saber, was at Car Week in 2019. We're like, hey, we don't have a Speedtail allocation, so here's the Saber. This is a 1 of 15 project we're working on. Would you like to be a part of that? So we said, yeah. You know, we kept doing the right things, building the right relationships, buying the right cars, and eventually they gave us one of the experimental prototypes that was used. I believe this is the electrical car.
Which is so much cooler than just having one of the 106.
It is. It is. So they have 10 XP. They call them XP for experimental prototype cars. So this is XP3. So it dealt with the experimentation with fabric and with the electrical systems in the car. So this is the only car door too to where you gotta plan for about 10 seconds for this to open. It is not a manually open. So all electric. There's a lot of firsts for this car. It has wireless charging as well. But you can see a very unique 3-seater position. We have the XP3 in the headrest right here. Up there you can see those are the side mirrors up top. Extremely unique. It's loading your screens right here. So you're really in a cockpit here. Everything's kind of surrounding you. We have driven it with 3 people. It is a lot of fun. It's very weird to have somebody on your left. Let's see. So there are little grab handles. So as you sit down in here to get yourself in, there's a little handle right there. Let's see. Let's see here. Look at this thing.
It's like in your crotch.
They did lower the seat an inch. God, my hair is still touching the top. But everything is at your fingertips here. So you have the electrochromic glass up top. You can go through some of the menu here. You have your reading lights. You can change all your lights to any color you want in here, the electrochromic. And I mean, really, you just have your media and your phone. But this driving experience in the middle is just one of the weirdest things. I keep wanting to go left to center. But all your controls up here, your doors, your windows, everything's up here. Pretty much looking at you right in the face. So a really special car.
So what's special about the Speedtail is the aerodynamic design to make it the slipperiest car through the air out of any car. It has the lowest COF of any car.
So this is one of our most unique cars. This is another extremely unique car. So we come over here to the Mclaren Saber.
The first one that we all spec'd together.
Yes.
First bespoke spec car.
Yeah, so we waited 18 months to 2 years for this car, but after we sold the business, this was the very first one that we together went and spec'd. And that was in Dallas, I believe, right?
It might have been the first car I actually cared about, to be honest.
that very well could be. But again, we could have gotten a basic spec, kept the price down, more investment opportunity. But again, for this, we went with full carbon. Beautiful. It's more of a purple carbon, purpley blue compared to the Speedtail, but full carbon, full visual color carbon they call it the fuselage. And then the pods that come up over it is the bare carbon with the Paris blue striping and accents.
Yeah, so another one of the aerodynamics is pretty neat that the airflow goes through the car, which was different. Not only taking it around the car like the Speedtail, but how do we get the air through the car? And I thought that was a really pretty neat design element with the pods on the outside of the fuselage.
This is really kind of like a baby version of the McLaren Solus.
Right, with the pods, and you really see a lot of the similarities.
Yeah, so it's like a little baby track version of the incredible Solus that's supposed to be as fast as an LMP2 car. You just get that feel from this, but in that car, I mean, it is just very singularly focused, but there's only 1 of 25 of those coming, and this is a 1 of technically 16. They'll go together well in the collection. And the cool thing about this car is we had this sent back to MSL. We wanted a few things changed about the car. We wanted to be able to daily drive this thing. So we wanted the seats changed, especially for BDD, with his back and kind of.
He hated the seats.
He hated the seats, like the Senna seats pretty much is what they are. So we sent it back, and they said they originally couldn't do it because the entire middle section wasn't designed for it. But they said they would bring it back, so they completely redesigned the middle section of this Saber, added a bunch of cool features for us, got the comfort seats in it. So most people, they say like a 1 of 1 is like spec related, right? Like, oh, my color is this, nobody has this color, which, I mean, it's not really a 1 of 1. But for them to redesign the interior of this car at MSO just for us and just for this Saber 007, that's a true 1 of 1 to me.
1 of 1 of 15.
1 of 1 of 15, that's right.
But I think those seats really transformed it for me because they're so comfortable. This makes this a car that you can drive like hours and be comfortable. It drives so nice too.
So let's take a look at the interior. They did a lot of cool touches in here. We definitely got more of the blue pop. The interior wasn't quite popping enough for us. You want to take a seat in there? Sure. Show us some stuff, but okay. So these seats are brand new. The bright blue, the steering wheel. We also changed out the interior carbon. Was just regular bare carbon. So they did all blue carbon for us to kind of bring in all the blue.
Such a nice touch. It makes it so much different. It's crazy how just little changes like that make the car feel so different. And the floor mats.
Yeah, they actually surprised us with the floor mats. That was a cool surprise. So the floor mats and the engine start button, if we get a close-up of that.
I mean, that might be one of my favorite options.
Our Triple F logo.
How cool is it to have a start button?
Really, really cool. So really, I mean, the rest of it is very Senna-ish.
But it's very comfortable in here. Like, you sit here and it's just like, you could daily drive this.
It's
and it
perfect.
drives so nice.
It is. I mean, you like this so much better than getting into the Senna.
Oh, way better. Way better.
Yeah. But, you know, the same floating display there. Really, you know, in this, just like the 720 and the Senna, the same, you know, instrument cluster, how that folds down and everything. You have a lot of controls up here up top.
But I think being in here again, I think this might be in my top 3. I think it's this, the Bugatti, and the LaFerrari for me.
I mean,
gosh, I don't know.
That's a fantastic trio.
I'd rather have this than the LaFerrari. This drives so nice.
You know, to kind of bring in the Paris blue a little bit more, we love the wheels. It's been a little controversial on the wheel side, but we have the Triple F logo in the center cap. And then really this kind of made this pop a lot more. So one of the coolest things is, so this was all just black before, so you have the pinstriping around these air vents, and you have the fade coming out of it. So it really makes this rear end pop. This is probably the most aggressive, coolest looking rear end of a car that we have, in my opinion. The next car, arguably,
your baby.
This is my baby. This is up there with the Bugatti for me as one of the favorites. I think it's, you know, a lot of people like, it has a cult following, right? So a lot of people think that McLaren, this is their best design ever made. But this means a lot to me because back when we couldn't afford, you know, any cars, you know, 2012, 2011, you know, when the designs were starting to come out for the P1, you know, this was like a car that I would look at on YouTube and see it and just like my absolute dream car. No way I'll ever be able to get something like this. So this is really, really special for me. You know, let's talk about the Senna a little bit. That'll kind of get into how we got the P1. So this was on the showroom floor at McLaren Philly with Chad because we were going to spec a couple 600 LTs. And this was on the floor. The guy didn't want to take delivery of the car. So it has this Fire Genesis custom blue carbon fiber with a bunch of different color flake in it with the Papaya Spark. So we ended up getting this car, very unexpected, couldn't believe that it was available. Chad knew that I was looking for a Senna. So then I was looking for a P1, and so we were talking, and the same owner had this P1. And so these two cars were meant to be in the same garage because this customer, I had to get his permission to use it on the other 600 LT that we had, but this whole body is full carbon Fire Genesis blue. Gosh, it's hard to be unbiased, but you know, this is my favorite P1 spec that I've ever seen, just in terms of a full carbon. You know, again, going above and beyond with not only the car, but the spec and what that means, you know, from an investment standpoint, that we're not afraid to spend that extra money on something that we want and not necessarily make every dollar in investment possible. So right now it's parked in race mode. You can see how amazing the wheel gap is there. Doesn't it just look incredible? Like just the way this thing sits is absolutely, it's astonishing. And we did the Euro headlights. We did this change, so this is now clear instead of amber. If we come around back here, so I love the fact that this wing can now stay up 100% of the time. But we also have the Euro tails, so they wrap all the way around. And we got this really cool, normally they don't come with this enamel P1 badge, but we got that in orange to match the calipers. But I don't know, there is just nothing to me that looks like the P1. This timeless design, it is just, to me, this is like the ultimate car for me, the ultimate design, and just like this thing going on the road and the driving experience. Brice just got to experience this recently, but the driving experience of this, the sound is very similar to the Bugatti, just more visceral. And there's a feeling you get driving this car kind of similar to the 675 in that generation that's just unlike anything else. Even like, you know, the 720 is just a different feeling. This is just very special. You get a very special feeling in this car. You know, this harkens back to like 12C, 650 days. Very basic. I do like the seats. They do hug you pretty good, especially a guy like me. But, you know, this serves like one purpose and one purpose only, and that's like the experience of the sound of this car and just going fast. I love this car. I'm not leaving this car. You're doing the rest of it without me. You're doing the rest of it without me. Senna, I mean, we'll show you the Senna. We kind of just went over what's really cool about it. You know, you can see the inside. I know you're getting tired.
What was the purpose of these glass panels here? Is it just to feel more of the road noise?
Gosh, you know, what?
Well, you know the answer, right?
What's the answer?
So you can see the apex on a track.
Oh, is that what it's for?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Oh, well, that's pretty cool.
I
usually can just tell like the feel of it. I don't need to see it. That's kind of awkward.
But is that?
Where's the apex?
That can't be true, really? Did you read that?
Did you? He made that up.
It's also to save weight though, because like the entire door is completely carved out, and you have like a little plexiglass in there, so there's no like,
Well,
there's
and
no
you
fluff.
can tell with the sound, it is so rough sounding.
Well,
Like,
no,
you
I
hear
mean,
every noise.
You hear every rock and chip that happens, but you know, one of the coolest cars. This and the P1 are meant to be together. Our first supercar over here, the 675 LT, very controversial at the time, was the roof scoop. It was a $55,000 option. This is before McLaren like had their roof scoop thing, and everybody loved roof scoops. And they made 500 coupes. They only offered it in the second half of production to the other 250 because people wanted it. The first half, because I was part of these forums at the time where everybody, like all the owners, pissed.
Oh, I bet, yeah.
Pissed
And they
because-
couldn't put it on.
No. I mean, they're already done. Now you can send them back now for about like $80,000 to $90,000 and have it, you know, retrofitted. But there were probably 15 to 20 that they made with roof scoops. And then to be fully exposed carbon, so the roof scoop with the carbon louvers, I mean, you will be hard pressed to ever find another 675 LT with these two options in bare carbon.
It does look so good with all the carbon accents.
This Aurora blue, this might still be my favorite blue that I've ever seen on a car, ever. This blue is perfect. Perfect to me.
The first time I drove this, it was unlike anything I'd ever driven up to that point. I mean, it's a lot different. What was the 458?
We had the 458 before this. That was it.
12C.
Yes, but like being able to see the motor in here, you can't do that in modern McLarens now. So the P1, the 675, you know, you still have the full glass panel. You look over at the 720, you can't see the engine anymore.
Yeah, but that's
It's kind of sad. Well, not even in the coupe, can you?
yeah.
I know. So we did end up changing seats, but you know, so there's nothing. This is the most bland interior.
I haven't driven this for a long time. I need to take this out.
Has it been a while? Have a seat in
A
it.
long time.
The seats are really comfy in it. So we also changed out these seats. But BDD wanted more comfortable seats, so we ended up getting the 12C seats in here.
This makes me miss my 650.
Well, you still own it.
Oh, I still miss it. I don't have it.
It's true.
I'll sell it to you guys. Who wants it? What should I sell it for? 250,000?
I was just gonna say that, yeah.
Okay.
But really special car. The driving experience of this, it's not up to the par with the P1, but you know, these early McLarens, the driving experience, there's just something really special about it. And just everything works together well. This is the first car that we spec'd out completely from the ground up. So like, I remember getting delivery pictures of this. I mean, just over the moon excited. Couldn't believe we were getting a car like this. Couldn't believe it. So very special to us. This one's never leaving. I'll tell you that much. This one's never leaving.
Never?
Never. Never leaving. Okay, so the last of the McLarens here, we have the 720S Spider in Volcano Red. Just an amazing car. Absolutely love this car. I was never a convertible guy, but Jason kind of got me into more of the Spiders, and I love that.
I love Spiders. That's like, until the Lamborghini, that's the only car I would buy.
Yeah.
Because I love it with the top down. I love the wind here and the noise.
And you know, these machined HRE wheels, I think, work perfect with the red.
You can't get rid of this. I love this red.
I have to get rid of it.
You can't get rid of this.
You know what it's getting rid of, what we're getting rid of it for.
Yeah, the 765.
Yeah, that's full carbon.
God, but this is beautiful.
It is, I know. But yeah, I mean, we've all seen the 720s. I mean, it's got, you know, I don't even know that's
I think this is sweet. I love this car.
It is sweet.
You don't appreciate it enough, I feel like.
No, I do.
I love this
No,
car.
I mean, like in terms of like getting in it and going through all the stuff, you know, because
Oh, yeah, it's very similar to-
well, because this is one Chad had. This was the last one he was getting for about 6 to 8 months. He had it. I wanted one. We got it. So I wasn't able to fully spec this out myself. And for a car that
What would you have changed?
well, for a car that I didn't spec, this is amazing. I mean, any of the Volcano colors really pop.
I don't know that I would pick this color, but like without seeing it, but like looking at it now, I would choose that color 100%.
Isn't it gorgeous?
I love that color.
Similar to RBC.
Oh.
Similar. Okay, so that takes care of all the McLarens. We have 2 more cars here on the UK side.
Okay, this is one of my favorites. This one might be, if I could only drive one car for the rest of my life.
You think it's this?
This is right up there. This might be it. I love the styling. I love the big wheels. Of course, I did it right this time and got the speed, the W12.
I don't have to make fun of them anymore.
No, well, I didn't need a speed in my SUV. I got the V8, and Jordan never lets me live down. Why'd you get a V8 when you could get a W12?
Yeah, we had that argument forever, but you know, he finally saw the right side of things.
I just love, like, it's nice and low. I love the design. Like, you got like the jeweled look in the headlights.
Well, and look, there's almost, I mean, this car in a convertible with white on red, The interior of this car is so nice. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, check out that interior. The red looks so good.
I mean, it does. It does look like you're walking into like a jewelry store, though. Everything pops. It looks really nice.
And it just, you can tell it's a big, heavy, solid car, but it drives so smooth. It's got one of the smoothest deliveries of power that I've ever been in.
And then, facing it might be, one of its biggest rivals is Aston Martin. I would imagine that if somebody's looking for a Bentley, they're also in the market for the Aston Martin. If somebody's looking for the Aston Martin, they're also in the market for the Bentley. So these are the two Roadsters. How much was this? These are very similar price, I think.
$350.
$350?
Well, I think like $365.
Okay, so this was $340.
So same price, basically.
Yeah, so basically same price. So I got the HRE wheels on it. This red really sold me on it. Definitely, that's more luxurious. There's no doubt about it. The Bentley is going to be more luxurious.
But this is more sporty.
This gives you more of the sporty, more of the really deep. It's extremely fast for what it is. It has over 700 horsepower. It's got a V12 in it. I mean, the thing just screams. Okay, so we've seen both sides of the garage. We've seen the world versus the UK. We have the middle here. So now we need you guys to decide, which side are you taking? Are you taking the UK side, or are you taking the world? Or are you just taking the middle? Are you just taking this car?
That's a good option too.
I guess in the middle we'll have this nice little package of the 300 SL and the Pagani one.
Should we teleport the RBC in here?
You know what? Since we don't have it here, I do think that we should get it teleported here.
Can we teleport that?
It's going to have to go right there. Hang on. Make room. We don't want to get squished.
Okay. Yep. Is it popping up?
We good? Ready, Rick? Oh my God!
I think.
Are you kidding me? How did you get this in here?
Doesn't it look good though? I love the color.
Oh my God!
The color's probably my favorite part.
Wait, watch out! Oh my God, dude, that's beautiful.
The floating roof scoop.
Look at that.
I love the floating roof scoop. That's my favorite part of the car.
Oh my gosh, dude, this is incredible. Look at this technology just to be able to pop it up right here. That's the current collection of just supercars, hypercars. We're going to be coming out with another episode on all the SUVs, all the sedans, and we'll kind of walk you through all that. But for now, we moved into the garage. Everything's laid out very nicely. So let us know which side you guys are taking.
What side are you taking? I want to know your pick.
UK for sure.
UK for sure?
For 100% sure.
Jay's taking the world.
UK all day?
UK all day, baby.
I'm taking the world.
Okay, well.
Let us know.
Our powers combined, like Captain Planet.
Wow, that was special.
Go Planet! By your powers combined, I am Captain Planet! Captain Planet, he's our hero. Gonna take pollution down to zero. He's our powers magnified, and he's fighting on the planet side. Captain Planet.